Hey everyone, Jake and Tevis here with Ticket Price Podcast. Just jumping in to let you know we're on Patreon. We finally did it. It took us longer than we thought. We're not very smart. But if you enjoy the show, check us out. $3 subscription cost. Can't beat that. With it, you're going to get early access to our episodes. You're going to get bonus content, as well as our community forum. Laugh, joke about the show, tell us how bad we are, share your favorite moments, but most importantly, give us recommendations for movies you want to hear us talk about. If we like it, we're going to do your movie. We're going to give you a shout out during the show as a thank you for giving us the idea. Thank you all for listening. Ticket Price Podcast at Patreon. Check us out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price. I am your co-host, Jake, sitting across the way with me as always. My co-host and the only man who thinks Quentin Tarantino should stop directing and go back to acting, Tevis at Master Control. Tevis, how's it going?
He was amazing at the end of Django. Oh my God, that was the best part. He should win an Oscar. No, he should never be in his movies ever again. That guy is a terrible actor.
Yeah, it's almost like Stan Lee, though, where it's like, I kind of enjoy his cameos, like, you know, in Pulp Fiction, and I'm not at all going to even pretend like I'm going to recite any of that scene.
Why? What's wrong with that scene?
Oh! Oh! Yeah. I think the full gravity of what we're talking about kicked in.
Yeah, I kept trying to recite in my head what he had said, and I kept thinking about coffee. And he's like, "Shut up, Jules. I don't need you to tell me how good my coffee is. I know how good my coffee is. I want to talk about..." And I'm like, no, we can't. No, never mind. No.
Yes, obviously the parts I was talking about was the coffee.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to end that bit. All right. Episode 10.
Hey, we're moving on.
Hey, episode 10. We've done 10 of these. This is our future right here, bright and shiny. We're all going to look back at this moment when we hit double digits. So for today, we are looking at Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Oh my God. I was so excited for this.
Do you want to take over?
I was so excited for this. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just hang back. I got this.
All right. Hold on. No. Okay. At least give me my intro.
Yeah. You do your thing, and then I'll run with it.
All right. Released in 2018. Screenplay by Phil Lord and Rodney Rothman. Directed by Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, Rodney Rothman. Starring Jake Johnson, Nick Cage, Chris Pine. This
movie is stacked.
It's a surprisingly stacked cast.
Mahershala Ali is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Lily Tomlin is in this.
Haley Steinfeld.
Who's
the pig? He's John
Mulvaney or
Mulaney
or something like that. Yeah.
All the John Mulaney fans are gonna hate us.
I know. Sorry, we don't really care about him. At least I don't.
But he did a good job.
Yeah, he did good as a Spider Ham.
Yeah, Spider Pig.
Spider Pig? Spider Ham?
I don't know that character. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not actually a big Spider-Man guy, but this movie does turn me around on a few things. But okay, ratings. IMDb 8.4.
What?
Seems a little low. Doesn't it? Seem a little low.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's super low.
Rotten Tomatoes 97. 97% on the Rotten Tomatoes, which I would be hard pressed to disagree on that.
Is that our highest rated one?
And that's what I was just double checking. And move over Rocky, because
please.
Clubber Lang just showed up and beat the shit out of you, because Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is claiming the throne for highest overall rated movie we've done.
Good.
I don't want him on any of our top 10s for anything.
No, never.
Okay, this movie had a budget of estimate about $90 million, with a worldwide gross of $384.3 million. Estimate seems kind of low too.
It does seem kind of low.
I
think I understand why.
It was kind of a sleeper hit. It flew under the radar as far as big mainstream. I think it got more love after the fact.
I 100% agree with that.
We'll go into it when we do our history, but
exactly.
Okay, this movie did This movie with 81 award wins, including the Oscar for Best Animated Feature Film,
That does not surprise me one bit.
with an additional 57 nominations.
Again, not shocked.
This movie slapped.
Yeah, slapped hard.
Reviews from the time. Our friends at ebert.com gave it 3.5 stars, a pure blast of creative joy. Yeah, not a 4, which again, I think is their highest score.
Yeah, I think
What
it
did
is too.
What did we watch that they gave a 4 to?
Probably Rocky
Was it Rocky?
or Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yeah, Rocky got 4 stars. The Foreigner, 1 star, and Into the Spiderverse, 3.5.
Well,
Hey, ebert.com, you're really coming off right now as what's his name? Nah, this whole bit's dead now because I forgot the asshole's name.
just redo it.
Okay. Well, no, I still don't remember the asshole's name.
Ooh.
The guy who does the wrestling, the Wrestling Observer, the newsletter.
Oh, Cornette?
No.
Oh, I don't know then.
Oh, damn it. It doesn't matter.
John Moxley?
John Moxley, I don't believe is capable of literacy,
No.
written or reading of any kind.
No, I don't. I agree.
Anyway, the hell Ebert. And the hell folks at Ebert, because Ebert is a place now, not a person.
Yeah, that still bothers the hell out of me that they are using his name to promote their reviews. I don't know. It bothers me more than it should, I think.
And I keep using them because I know it bothers both of us, but it really bothers you, so I keep doing it.
We got to be consistent. So
all right. Well, hey, I'm changing it up a little bit. The Verge described this movie as having a highly experimental style that works well, and that this movie is honest, truly unique, and shows that all other Spider-Man movies up to this point are wasted potential.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would agree with about half of that review.
Highly experimental style that works well.
Yes. And the whole
honest, truly unique.
That's I agree with that.
Wasted potential.
Wasted potential thing. I wouldn't agree with that.
I get what they're saying though. How many times have we rehashed Uncle Ben dies and with great power comes great responsibility when we could have been getting this or something more akin to this?
Yeah, and I guess I would agree with because like not the Tobey Maguire ones, the
Andrew Garfield
ones were pretty much garbage, and Tom Holland, his are outstanding, but I don't think they really gained their footing quite yet at this time.
No, but at least the Holland ones do it different because at least with him and that version of Spider-Man, the Uncle Ben all that just kind of happens. And we don't see any of it because we don't need to see any of it. We get Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War.
Right.
And he just shows up for a fight scene. You're like, oh shit, there's Spider-Man, right? Yeah. And that's cool. And then when he finally even got his own movie, it's been him and Aunt May for a while now.
Yeah, they don't touch on that.
And I'm okay with that.
Me
like
too.
We don't there are 2 characters in the world we do not need any more backstory on. It's Spider-Man and it's Wolverine. We got it.
And Batman.
Oh yeah, God.
I thought that's where you were going.
Oh, Batman. You know what? I didn't even think of Batman because I was thinking Marvel. Yeah. But you're right. We don't need to see Batman's parents eat it anymore. Although I do enjoy watching his parents eat it.
Wow.
Actually, my wife and I watched Joker with Joaquin Phoenix recently.
Just that one part where his parents get killed?
Yeah.
Put that on loop?
Yeah. And I just laugh hysterically as popcorn falls out of my mouth. I'm like, ah! Eat it. But also, the actors they get to portray Mr. and Mrs. Wayne are way too old to have 10-year-old Bruce as a son. There's no way.
Well, they got Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I don't remember what movie that one was, but yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was the dad.
That's fine. Jeffrey Dean Morgan isn't 65. So no, watching the Waynes eat it is a guilty pleasure of mine.
Okay.
Uncle Ben makes me sad.
We'll make a
Thomas and Martha Wayne.
We'll make a compilation of all of them. of every single time they die. And
We'll put it on our Patreon bonus content.
there you go.
Listen and watch me laugh hysterically as the Waynes eat it in every incarnation that's ever existed. Yes.
Man, this episode went dark.
Yeah, it did. As they always do.
Kind of.
But we're not talking about Batman or the Waynes eating it.
Yeah, get on topic.
Yeah, because we're ever on topic. No, we're talking about Spider-Man. That's who we're talking about. Uncle Ben eats it, but we don't see that in this one either. Very briefly, my history with this movie is really simple. Before watching it for this episode, I had seen it one previous time. I had remembered enjoying it. I remembered some major plot moments or details because it hadn't been all that long ago since I had seen it. And that's pretty much it. When the first time my wife and I decided to sit down and watch it, we went, oh yeah, hey, we can rent that. And everyone says it's good. We should check that out. But that's going back to, I feel like a lot of this movie's love came after the fact, after the theater runtime, because I don't even remember seeing that it was a movie to be seen in theaters. I don't remember it having a theatrical run.
I remember it being here in our theater, but I don't know for how long. I don't remember if it was a very long time. Going to my history with this, I was very much against it. When I first seen the trailer for it, I was like, no. Because this is about the time Sony was teaming up with Disney to bring Spider-Man into the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like they were trying to just grasp at straws and do anything to get Spider-Man out there. And I was afraid. Like, this movie is going to be awful because you have all, why is Spider-Ham in it? Are they just throwing Spider-Man at the wall and see what sticks? Which they all should. They're Spider-Man. But
wait, hold on. I can't decide if I hate that joke or not. The only reason I don't hate it is because I'm fairly certain it was unintentional until it happened.
It was unintentional.
Yeah, okay. So I'll give you a pass this time.
Thank you.
This time.
So I was very much against it because I didn't want to go into another Andrew Garfield crap show. And that's what I was afraid I was going to get. And my daughter watched it when it came out on Netflix or one of the streaming services. We're not sponsored by Netflix, so screw you, Netflix.
Unless you would like to sponsor.
Unless you would. Yes.
In which case, we love Netflix.
Well, Netflix is amazing. But she watched it on Netflix one day, and she talked me into watching it. And I am so glad she did. I put this... Let me back up. I was as wrong about this movie as I was wrong about Heath Ledger being cast as the Joker.
Now we're back to Batman.
I'm back to Batman. I hated the fact that Heath Ledger was cast, and I was so wrong.
Yeah.
And I will say, when I first sat down and finished watching this movie for the first time, I was so very wrong. It was fantastic.
Well, I just want to say that I will pay handsomely for the soundbite of you going, I was as wrong about that as I was about, and then just cut it off. So I can play it and then insert my own punchline. Because I have so many punchlines for I was as wrong about that as I was, ... I just want that soundbite.
I can edit that and I can save it.
Yeah.
I'll definitely save that.
My birthday's coming up. If you want to just give me that soundbite.
I'll do that one next to the one of you laughing.
Yeah. No, the amount of self-control I had to not jump in with 100 different comments when you said that, I am very proud of myself. And that was my one good deed for the day. I'm not holding back anymore.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's about as wrong as marriage. I don't know.
It was about as wrong as that marriage as it was with the other marriage.
Boom. So, okay. Are we ready to dive into this thing?
Let's dive into it.
Okay. So first off, one of the things that obviously separates this movie from any of the other Spider-Man movies, it's Miles Morales.
And I knew nothing about him.
Very, very little. Because again, I'm not a Spider-Man guy, so I don't keep up with the Spider-Man comics. I don't know the extended lore, like him and Spider-Gwen and I don't know because I'm not a Spider-Man guy, but I knew he existed, right?
Yeah.
But that's about it. So this movie really is my first and for the most part only real time with the character. You know, if you're fans of like the Ultimate Alliance video games, which 3 is fine. It's fine. 1 and 2 are iconic. 3 is fine. And Miles gets almost more like a cameo appearance, you
Oh, I
know.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's like that. But as far as actually being able to sink your teeth into who this character is, this movie is kind of it for me. And I think that holds true for most of the mainstream audience.
That's the way it was for me, as far as, and with the other characters too, like Spider-Gwen and Spider-Noir, and I
Yeah.
knew nothing about any of those because I was a straight Peter Parker, Spider-Man, my guy, that was it.
Mhm.
And I never really strayed one way or the other.
So I'm not going to even attempt to throw a dart at the board to figure out what dimension or universe that this particular Spider-Man story takes place in, because, you know, in comics, canonically, what it's Earth 616 is the actual like comic Earth.
Oh, yeah.
So where this Miles fits into, I have no idea.
Yeah,
But
and even the MCU is Earth something,
something,
something, something,
yeah.
something. I don't know.
So this
I'm not that big of a
version,
nerd.
this version of Peter of Spider-Man, is this the best Spider-Man?
Chris Pine?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's rich, he's successful, he's basically we're back to Batman because he has a bat cave.
Well,
Aunt May is Alfred. He's married to MJ and they're happy and successful. Like he's handsome as hell. Everything is going right for him.
yeah.
Except die.
Except for the death part.
Except for the
yes.
dying part. But like
Spoilers.
Spoil-
Sorry.
This movie came out 5 years ago, and you know how I feel about spoiler alerts. Get over it. You're listening to a movie podcast. Anyway. Yeah, other than the dying part, but I'm like, wait, is this Peter like the best Peter Parker?
Probably.
Probably. I love the animation. I love this movie's animation. And honestly, the only thing that I might love more than this movie's animation is its soundtrack.
Oh,
It slaps so hard. Every hit is banger after banger after banger.
and not even just the actual hit songs that they got the licensing to, like just the Prowler's theme and Miles's theme and everybody's is Gwen's theme when she finally shows up. This soundtrack is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But you are not wrong too. The animation is so good.
It's so stylized because it's got this comic book feel, but not overly so. But it's so good. I don't know enough about art to explain it. But you have a degree in art-based things.
I do. Crayola gave it to me for a small fee of $60,000.
So walk me through, what is this art style? What are we looking at?
Well, it's 3D animation is what it is. And it was done on Autodesk Maya is the program that they use. And that's the one I actually used when I was in college. Not to this success, though.
Wait. Are you saying that your personal skills hadn't reached this level?
I don't think they ever will. This is so fantastic. But they have like a 2D shader on it. So it looks, looks flat and looks very comic booky, has the Ben-Day dots. Like they did in the old comic, the comic style with the shading and stuff. Oh my God, it's all of it. And then it cuts every once in a while to looks like almost hand-drawn comics. Like when he jumps, getting chased by the Prowler, and he jumps over that the subway track, and that small flash, and it's like the actual comic book page. Like,
you can see the borders of the panels and everything.
Yes, and it's all so well. Damn, it's done so well. I cannot. It's like every scene of this movie, every shot of this movie could be a piece of wall art.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing.
Move over, Andy Warhol, you tomato soup painting bastard.
Overrated.
Hate modern art. Hate it. Let's just fill museums with this in the modern section.
Absolutely.
I'd be okay with that.
Absolutely.
We meet Miles. We met Peter, we meet Miles. We go through the intro. Can we just appreciate how awkward he is? He's an awkward teen.
Oh, I love it.
And he's got his headphones on. He's jamming to his song, and he knows none of the words. And I appreciate that so much.
But the ones he knows, he hits them hard, boy.
Yeah. And then all the other,
Yeah, no. It reminded me of when me and my daughter are driving around in my truck and a song comes on that she knows and she just but then she knows the part. She's like, "Oh yeah," and then she hits it really hard.
Yeah. It's
That
like
hit me right in the feels.
cruising with your buddies and Blitzkrieg Bop comes on. Blitzkrieg Bop.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You know, you've done it.
Oh yeah.
Everyone who knows this
Yeah.
song has done it. So Miles is going. He won a raffle. He took an entry test to see if he go to this private school
Right.
for gifted, and passed the test, which entered him into a drawing essentially, and he won that.
Right.
And he goes to this private school, and we see him. You know, he's trying to be cool, and he's in his element, and he's throwing his little sticker tags up, and then his cop dad. Who I
No,
love, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He was great.
Miles' dad is awesome. I love you, Miles. And then Miles doesn't see. He's like, "Yep, see you later, Dad." Gets out of the car, so he hits the siren. Whip, whip. Gets the speaker out. He's like, "Say I love you, Dad." I love you, Dad. Dad, are you serious? I love you. I want to hear it.
And then he does, and he's like, "That's a copy." And did you hear when Miles goes into the school? A couple of the guys he's trying to talk to, and they're all just like, "Go away."
Copy that.
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, we copy that." I was like, "Oh, that's so good." It made him feel so much worse.
What a fantastic moment. And as a dad, and having a dad, and knowing my, just I could just picture anyone who's a father. I can picture myself
Oh,
in that seat doing that to my kids, or you to your, or whoever.
my dad did that to me when he dropped me off at
I
school.
love you, Dad.
Yeah, 100% he did.
Oh, I forgot. Because it's out of order in my notes, and my notes are slightly out of order for this movie, and it drives me crazy that my notes are
I
out of
can
order, and I
imagine.
hate it.
I can
I hate
imagine.
it.
You would hate mine.
I do hate you. When you're like, look at all these notes I took. I'm like, get that garbage book away from me. I can't even look at it. But when we're introduced to Peter, and he's like, I saved the city, and I did this and that. And then I also did this.
The
and
dance?
It's him doing the dance from, was that Toby Spider-Man 2 or 3? 3. Okay.
3. Yeah, that
And
was when
he's-
he was the
and he's-
emo.
Yeah, and he's doing the dance and whatever. He's like, we don't talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I really, really appreciated that bit.
I love that whole intro of, I can't remember exactly what they said, but it's like, okay, well, here we go again for the last time, or
I was
something
gonna say,
like
I'm glad you enjoyed it because we got it like 6 times.
Yeah, but it was really cool how every single one of them that were introduced, they would use that and do their backstory super quick,
hmm
and then we're on to new things.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool way of telling everybody's backstory without having to have an individual movie for every single one. Oh my God.
Yeah, but to be fair, those individual movies all spawn their own micro franchises within the greater franchise, and they all made millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, but we didn't need all of them.
Honestly, have we needed any of them since the third Tom Holland Spider-Man?
Fair point.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on to good movies. So Miles is in school, and we've talked about montages, cuts, things that work, don't work, what could be done. This opening school sequence, for me, worked on pretty much every level. We've got good backing soundtrack while we see Miles going through his first day at this school, and it's simultaneously showing us that he's a fish out of water, but also the immense pressure of the expectations of this new environment. And, the teachers are talking. It's borderline Charlie Brown, like wah, 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 right? They're still talking, but the only time that their volume actually kicks in is when they say certain key words like stress, pressure, expectation, as it continues to build as Miles is doing the math or whatever he's working on, but he's the last one to raise his hand to give the answer because he's no longer the big fish in a small pond. So we're seeing both he's the awkward kid in a new environment, but also now he's like, oh man, he has to try way more than ever before.
Yeah, he's not the smartest kid in the class anymore.
Exactly. And so
And he probably honestly is, but he's just new and he doesn't know anybody, and so he's a little slow to put himself out there.
he's playing catch up.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what we get is a montage that is visually impressive. It sounds great. And it's fulfilling multiple key roles at the same time. I think this is the first movie we've done that's actually pulled off a montage that is successfully conveying multiple messages.
Oh, I agree. And this is the first movie we've watched, I think, that does a number of things super well.
Mm.
Super well.
Then he goes on. Well, I guess I was about to say he kind of meets Gwen
Yeah, in the classroom.
in the classroom.
When he does that awkward joke. And
yeah.
I love that you see when he walks in the classroom, they're showing a movie and it's the doctor.
Liv. Oh, it's Liv.
But he's standing in front of her name, so you don't know exactly who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice her glasses?
Not in the film reel they were watching.
I don't remember if I caught it there or later, but the glasses that she's wearing, they're octagons.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. Like
Yeah,
during the big reveal.
yeah.
Of who the character is, but no, not.
I just thought that was a nice little touch.
The details. This movie is full of them, and they're so good. So my next note is actually he he goes through school. It's weird. He sneaks out because he needs some reassurance, and he goes to his beloved Uncle Aaron,
Played by Mahershala Ali. If you don't know who he is, go study his filmography and watch some of his stuff.
What's something I would know him from? What's something the audience would know him from?
The Green Book. It was him and Viggo Mortensen about. Oh, I'm not going to get into the abouts of it because that's not what this is about. But he also was the best part of the TV show Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, his character gets killed off like halfway through, and then the rest of the series is trash. I'm not saying he was the glue, but
apparently he was.
He was the glue. But he's also going to be the new Blade for the MCU.
Oh, sweet!
So I'm super excited.
Wait, they're not bringing Wesley Snipes back?
Well, he might be, his sidekick. I don't think they're going to
something about taxes. I don't know.
Something bad.
But he goes to visit his beloved Uncle Aaron, who is, so you've got Miles' father, who's a straight-laced police officer. And you have his uncle, who clearly does shady things, but you don't know what. You just know he's more street. He's kind of a thug, but you don't really know what he's doing. He's tagging. He's encouraging this.
And he's a super cool guy.
He is a super cool. But you know what? His nephew doesn't have game. And he's like, man, I can't have a nephew with no game. Let me teach you the hey.
You know about the shoulder thing, right?
He's like,
you know about
what?
the shoulder touch,
no,
right?
What shoulder touch? What are you talking about?
And I put in my notes on this between Miles and the relationship between him and his father, the little bit we get of that in the car and in the house, and then the 5 minutes, 8 minutes we get of Miles and Uncle Aaron. I felt more about all of these characters in that short amount of time that we got with them than the entire 2-hour runtime of The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think you were gonna go there. I thought you were gonna say we got more. We got to know these characters between the dad and Uncle Aaron. We got to know them more. We got to feel for them as people and as characters in this world in those 5 minutes or whatever, 5-10 minutes, than we did in the whole 3 hours of Avatar.
Well, that too, yeah, and that too. Honestly,
all these movies that just throw characters at you, but we don't get to meet them in any meaningful way. But this movie, it's like, oh no, this character matters. And so while they have limited screen time, it's going to be the most impactful we can make it.
Yeah, and you don't get any backstory of their relationship or how they became as close. It's just, here, these two are together. They're having a good time. You can tell that they know each other really, really well. They care for each other really, really well. Can you
really well?
I'm doing a throwback to Rocky. But you can tell that they have a meaningful relationship.
It's because we've talked about it with Cameron, talked about it with other writers, air quote. Kubrick, you bastard. You think I'm going to let you go? Never, son. Never.
Has he been on all 10 of our episodes?
If not, it's real close. And I think I've managed to slander James Cameron in every movie we've done, or every episode we've done since Avatar.
Probably, yeah.
Not letting you go either. But the writers of this movie, they're showing us these relationships. You know why we don't have a whole backstory? Because it's telling us. We don't need that. We're seeing how they interact, how these characters intertwine in the moment. And that's how you create emotional resonance.
Yeah, and it works.
But that's the thing. Even his mom, who we see even less of, but you know she's a nurse. You can see her trying to get herself, her son, and her husband ready, and she's just like, come on, guys. And then we get, she's giving that long, kissy goodbye like any mom does. And, and even Miles is more, he reciprocates it more with her than he does with his dad, showing, even the difference in his relationship with his mom versus with his dad, because that's what good storytelling can do when it's done right.
Yeah, the mom shows how much she loves him in two different ways. Like, hey, hurry up, we gotta get going. I gotta get you to your school on time, And then she realizes he's going to be gone for the entire week, and she's like, oh my God, I gotta get all this I can get. I don't care if you're late, type of deal. And yeah, you definitely see their relationship is not necessarily better, but
healthier.
Yeah, I think
it's different.
It is, but it's with every father and son and mother. They're all different.
Not to get too psychological on this episode, because we're not qualified to talk about.
I'm not even qualified to talk about this movie. What the hell are we doing? So let's talk about this movie,
right? So Uncle Aaron, hey. We learned the shoulder touch technique.
I love this guy.
But then he sees in Miles's notes a new tagging design.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, I got a spot. And they go tagging. And they do this beautiful piece of art on a wall in the subway, where we also get a montage of them tagging while the escaped radioactive spider dances, plays, gets thrown and flipped around. Like the way it's incorporated into each shot, in its own way is fantastic, because the spider bite is coming, but at one point it's on his sleeve, and then it gets into his shirt, but then it falls out and it's near Uncle Aaron and goes near him, and you're like, is Uncle Aaron gonna get bit? And then it just, the way they interweave it is a small micro story in of itself within this greater picture.
And the tagging part, I love this. When Uncle Aaron had Miles up on his shoulders, and he's trying to reach that very tip top, and the camera's looking down, and he's spraying, and then you see some of the spray off, I guess, hitting the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was super cool.
Yeah,
that was super cool.
But then, go ahead.
I was gonna say no, and to the spider, did you notice that it glitches?
Yeah,
just like the characters later from the other dimensions.
Because it's part of Alchemax?
Yes.
The Alchemax Corporation, which goes back to it's Liv. It's my favorite. That's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie.
Didn't Aunt May say that?
No, it's Peter B. Parker.
Oh,
the toughest and most durable of all the Spider-Men, and I will staunchly defend that when we get to him. If Chris Pine, if this Spider-Man is the most successful, the Jake Johnson Spider-Man is the toughest, most durable SOB that has ever put the suit on. Takes a tombstone to the face.
He loses a tooth, but then it comes back. Like, it's so funny. It's so good.
Hey, maybe that Peter's got some kind of regenerative powers. We don't know. He's from another dimension. So, but Miles ultimately gets bit. And can we appreciate it's this big dramatic moment? It's zoomed in on the spider. The music's intense. The colors are bright and powerful and flashy because it's this big dramatic moment. You see the spider sink its fangs into Miles's hand. You see the venom come out and enter his hand. And then it cuts out to Miles, who could not give a single shit and just slaps it. Just gives it a single slap, kills it, moves on with his day. Could not care that there's a spider the size of a White Castle slider on his hand.
I've never heard anybody use a White Castle slider as a measurement.
A unit of measurement. Am I wrong? That spider is huge. And Miles could not care less and just slaps his hand, kills it, moves on with his day. If a White Castle slider spider landed on my hand, I would immediately evacuate my bowels and scream like a girl. I would have the biggest conniption fit and would probably pass out at least once. At least once. You doing okay over there?
Oh my God. Yeah, the next time I ever need to measure anything, I'm gonna have my kid like, can you go grab me? She's like, oh, you need the tape measure? I'm like, no, go give me that White Castle slider out of the freezer.
This is roughly 5 White Castle sliders long and about 4 sliders tall. We can do this.
That's fat guy measurement right there.
Well, you normally, when you're comparing you're judging the size of the spider, you do like a coin or something, right? It's like, oh man, that thing was like the size of a $50 or something. No, the spider was huge. It was like, and that was the first thing that came to my mind.
God.
And I am not fat. I have a metabolism issue, according to my doctor, who's also not a thin man. America, folks. I don't know what to tell to our one listener in the UK. That's America, brother.
Yes. My fat doctor told me I need to lose weight as he's smoking his cigarette.
I remember. I can think of several PE teachers who were giving us orders while they sat on the bleachers because they themselves were too large and unhealthy to do a push-up or jog a lap because they would die.
Or they'd make you jog and then get in the golf cart and go after you.
Yeah, they're telling me to go faster while they're in a cart.
Yeah.
I will turn around and fight you because you do not have the constitution to fight back.
Oh. No, there was so many of those, I guess, expectation subversions in this movie where you think one thing's going to happen and, something else does. Like he just calmly like, oh, smacks that spider off of his hand. It was so funny. So funny.
So we've been talking about like the writing a lot, and how that's how you introduce characters, establish their relationship, make your audience feel something for those characters. But it's a movie. There's also visual storytelling, and that is what the artists of this movie and the director and editor that's what they're doing. They're using the visual medium of the film to make us think one thing and then hit us with the punchline after. And it works. It works every time because it's all this buildup and then boom, slapping sandwiches. I knew that would get you too, and that's why I said it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Miles has a rough day.
Oh, the next
once
day?
His spider powers kick in. Once whatever venom, the radioactivity, whatever alternate dimension nonsense is coursing through him, he has a rough day.
Yeah, he's probably wishing he could do that day over.
Probably. I feel like that was a joke of some kind. And
no.
Okay.
No.
The way you're looking at me, you're like, do that day over? And I'm like, I don't, there's no time travel in this movie. I don't. Except Gwen goes back a week. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
Although, can you really say she went back a week when she's like, I got teleported a week back, but I was also in a different dimension. You're in another dimension. You can't just say it teleported me a week, in the past. You're in a different dimension. That time is irrelevant now.
Yeah. And I was honestly looking at that part of it. I'm like, wait a minute. We saw Gwen before the event happened. How did she? I'm like, oh, did I find a mistake? Was this a mistake?
Well,
but then they explained it later because I paid attention this time.
Well, and also Patreon fans, we've got our discussion threads and whatever. Hit us up because I believe one of her powers, she can hop dimensions. Like she herself can hop dimensions without a MacGuffin of some sort.
Well, in the sequel to this, she joins like the spider core or whatever that's called. I don't remember.
There's
But
a
they have
spider core?
Yeah, they have a spider core. It's like the Green Lantern core, only cooler.
Well, yeah, because they're not trying to summon Captain Planet or whatever it is the Lantern cores do.
I don't know what they do.
Neither do the writers.
Yeah.
Green Lantern sucks.
Yeah, not a huge
Come at
fan.
me, nerds.
But in the sequel, they have like watches or Apple Watch or whatever. I don't know. But they can open up portals and jump in and go back and forth.
Okay. No, I thought in the comics, I thought Gwen could just do that.
That I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Hit us up, nerds.
Yeah. Tell us how wrong we are.
Oh, always. So, and also Miles' explanation for his really bad day of his spider powers coming in is it's puberty. I think I'm going through puberty. I mean, I already went through puberty and I am out of it now as I am a man who has gone through puberty. And Gwen's like, I don't think you know what puberty
He's
is.
so sweaty.
It's like me watching.
No.
Go ahead.
He's what I imagine you would be like watching a horror movie.
Yeah, it's just sweaty and clammy all the time. I'm weirdly sticky, and I don't know why. And I can't touch anyone, or otherwise I get glued to their hair. And it's bad. It's real bad. How did they shave the exact handprint of Miles out of her hair?
With a razor?
Yeah, but how did they get his exact finger?
It's like when he painted him with the spray can in the subway. And he just went around it. It's like when you'd put your handprint on the paper and you would draw over it and then you'd make it into a turkey when you were in elementary school.
Sure, yeah.
It's the same way. It's the same concept.
Yeah, but wouldn't you just shave that whole block of her hair out?
I don't know. It's a movie.
Okay.
About interdimensional travel, and this is what you're worried about?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Well, so far, this has been the only thing the movie has given me to worry about. Because
you're not wrong.
Up to this point, solid gold. I don't know. Solid gold. Miles goes back to try to find the spider. He makes the connection that he's having the same first day that Peter Parker did in his comics, based off this dimension's Spider-Man's real life. He makes the connection, is like, oh crap. Well, wait a minute. It's a normal spider. I'm just going through puberty. Everything's fine. He goes back into the subway, finds the spider, realizes that is not a normal spider. That spider is all shifty and weird colors and dimension changing and is the size of a White Castle slider. No spider is that big. And then Green Goblin crashes through the wall and he finds himself in the middle of some stuff.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this Green Goblin.
Oh, I've seen this iteration before.
Yeah, that I had not. And
yeah, where he's actually like a giant goblin with wings.
Yeah, and when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, no, that's not. No. I was very much against it.
Mm-hmm.
But then watching it, man, this is really good.
And now I don't think this is the first time we've seen, we being just the comic book style audience, whether it's movies, video games, comics, TV, all the media that's out there. I don't think this is the first time we saw that iteration of Goblin.
Unless it was in one of the Spider-Man video games where they actually done a good job of the swing mechanics.
Which also was 2018.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I was never familiar with it.
Now, he looked fine. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it once, and I'm not going to dwell on it. Everyone's like, oh, this guy, Jake's going to dwell on it. I'm not going to dwell on it. Shut up. You're dwelling on it. Kingpin has never looked worse.
Oh, no. I absolutely disagree.
What?
Him being so big.
Yeah, but his head is like in the middle of his shoulders.
I loved it.
Now I'm dwelling on it.
Now he's dwelling on it.
Because it's awful. There's so many better ways to depict Kingpin.
With Michael Clark Duncan?
Vincent D'Onofrio. He was amazing.
He was good. No, I loved it. I thought it was great. Like that when you first see him and he fills the entire screen, it's just his head and the blackness. And he's all hunkered over. Oh no!
You've never been more wrong about something as you were when you thought this was a good visual representation of Kingpin.
I loved it. I totally disagree. I thought it was super unique way of showing just how massive this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't dwell on it.
Oh, it's too late. I'm dwelling on it. It's stuck in my brain now, and I have so much to say, but we don't have that much time. Ooh.
You kind of glossed over something though that I had in my notes and I forgot to bring up, but
Because your notes are garbage.
yeah, that's true. But right before the goblin breaks out, and Miles' Spidey sense is going off,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost painful for him.
Yeah.
And then it shows on the screen the big "look out."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, that's
That-
so cool.
And
Such an
we-
awesome way of showing the Spidey sense.
And we see a lot of that throughout,
Yes.
in just different forms. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Anyway, let's go back to Kingpin.
No, I can't. I can't. Otherwise, I'm going to dwell on it, and the whole episode's going to. He wins the McCready's Hat Award for being the worst thing ever. And now we're moving on.
In my notes, I said, I love how big Kingpin is. Fills the screen.
You can. Ooh, no, I'm not doing. I'm not. You cannot suck me into this debate. I'm not doing it. We're moving on. So we see cool fight scene. I love how Miles is. It switches between sometimes the fight scene is front and center, and you see Miles in the background just trying to not die, and then it switches and Miles is in the forefront trying to not die, while Spider-Man and Goblin are in the background and the fight scene continues. Sometimes you can lose, if it's not done just the right way, you can lose audience when you shift like that, and it can get confusing.
Yeah,
That's why
you lose your focus.
like in fight scenes, typically you've got that almost like 2D plane where the actors don't cross that plane and the camera never crosses that plane, and it just keeps it squarely the action squarely in focus and no one gets lost. But no, this does it in a way that works and makes sense. You're looking at me like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I do.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you to bring up the Prowler when he shows up.
Well, go ahead.
Goblin gets knocked out, and then the Prowler shows up and fights Spidey for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a dude.
He's got tech. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he holds his own.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, and man, everything about the Prowler is so cool. From the music to his look, he's just fantastic.
Well, I hope you didn't get too attached.
I know.
Did you like it when Kingpin filled that screen with his big, stupid rectangle body?
That part made me sad.
So the fight goes on. The Collider. So Goblin just holding Spider-Man in the middle of the dimensional beam from the Collider. That's hardcore.
Yeah, and the way the screen kind of comes in and all the the bubbles, I guess they're not really bubbles, but whatever they were, and it focuses really hard on the middle of the screen and Spider-Man's head. So man, this is so good. Just visually, it's so good, and you're right, super hardcore. He's like, I'm gonna dip your head in this shit.
Yeah, this seems like a really brutal way to murder you. And
Yes.
we're gonna. This side note, can I go on a small not even a tangent? I just have a question for you.
Is it about Kingpin?
No,
Okay.
because I'm not doing that anymore. Do you think that Goblin's decision to try to murder Spider-Man with the Collider beam is what drew the other Spider-Men into their dimension?
Yes.
So do I. I think that there was enough of a link in that moment with him being in there that it drew the others in.
Yeah, and I think Peter B. Parker mentions that when he sees Peter Parker's memorial.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I think whatever killed him is what brought me here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, technically, what killed him was Kingpin smushing him into the concrete.
that's true. That is true, too. But
Did Goblin die then?
Oh, I don't know.
We don't see Goblin again, do we?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because then we get Doc Ock, we get Scorpion, we get Tombstone.
Tombstone, yeah.
But we don't get Goblin again, do we? I think Goblin died then, too, in the Collider explosion.
He may have, honestly. I don't recall.
Suck it, Norman.
Yeah. And you'd think I caught that because I watched that 3 times this week.
Right?
But no, I didn't catch that part.
No, I think Goblin died.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. I think Goblin died.
Hey, if Goblin died, let us know.
World's a better place. Just saying, all these heroes with their no-kill rules, that's bullshit. Go ahead. You want to argue. Go ahead.
I can't. I want to, but I can't.
How does Batman letting Joker survive constantly escape Arkham and then not only put millions of lives in danger. He actually does kill so many people. Spider-Man just like, oh no, shocker, Vulture, who, any of his, man, Batman has a real bad catalog of villains. He's got a lot of stinkers in there.
But he's got some of the best too. But we're talking about Spider-Man.
Right, I'm talking about Spider-Man.
You said Batman has a.
Oh, Batman has no, I thought I said Spider-Man. They both have a backlog of some real stinkers. Shocker is a Spider-Man villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is Vulture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I said Spider-Man.
You said Batman. They got the tail of the tape. No.
Oh, okay. No. Oh, for that text when you're like, you said Spider-Man, I'm like, aha!
If that's the case, then I'm gonna have to cut out all of this.
Hide it. No one will ever know.
Yes.
But no, so you've got Green Goblin, and you're like, you keep letting him live, but all he does is kill and hurt more people. At some point, the Punisher is right.
I was just about to say the Punisher makes a lot of sense sometimes.
Punisher makes a lot of sense sometimes.
Yeah.
You think Wolverine just never not iced a motherfucker? No, he's just like, shink, his clothes, shink, and just took him out.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. Anyway, Spider-Man dies. Peter B comes in. Actually, the memorial is really nice. It's nice to see a world. You know why everyone loves Spider-Man? If this dimension has him, he's never mentioned. This dimension may not have a J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, yeah.
He's never brought up.
I didn't even think about that. But yeah, you're right. That's why everybody loves him, because the freaking Newsmax guy is not on there.
Freaking Jameson. You bastard. Again, all this shows that this version of Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man from a success standpoint.
Right. Yeah, I never thought of that.
So now Miles knows he has powers. Something big is going down that he may be the only one who can stop. But his mentor, or who was going to be, because this Peter Parker was like, I'm not alone. I can teach you so much. We can team up.
Yeah.
Dead. He gets killed by Kingpin. Now Miles is alone.
And he's trying to learn from the comics.
Right.
And I loved it. It was so good. When he's standing up at the top of the building
and he looks down, and then it cuts to him going down the stairs.
With his shoes squeaking.
Yeah. Great sound design of it's just his shoes squeaking down those stairs. And then he goes out to the street and finds a smaller building to jump off of. Yeah. We all been there.
And I loved when he fell off the building, and that as he's falling, the sound was going with him, that they later play back to where he swings up and goes up and he's like, yes, or whatever. I can't remember, but it all intertwines. And I like that.
Like the Spiderverse, it all interconnects.
It's like a web. Oh my God.
Man, we're dumb. Man, we're dumb. So Peter B. Parker, again, the biggest sad sack of the Spider-Men, but also, again, the most durable. You think Peter B. Parker would have died when Kingpin mushed him into the ground? He'd have been like, oh, that was mildly unpleasant. I wish I had a bagel. And then he'd have done his Spider-Man thing. You know what I also liked is he's fat, and he takes a lot of hits, and he's a sad sack, but he's not incompetent. It would have been so easy for him to be a bumbling goof or a failure, but he is still a professional, seasoned, and good Spider-Man.
Yeah, they could have fell into that trap super easily.
I'm just oh, he's the bumbling doofus. No, when he's Spider-Man's, he's really good. He's probably not as good as Chris Pine's Spider-Man.
I love that he was wearing sweatpants through most
Those tights are... Man, you ever come home after a long day and you just have that super judgmental, pants line around your waist of all the red marks where your jeans or whatever are digging in? I hate that. Sweatpants when you're as fat as we are, folks, sweatpants are a godsend.
I get my sweatpants and eat White Castle sliders all night.
I can't now because they make me think of spiders. I have nightmares. So Peter B. Parker is like, no, I hate kids. I'm not going to train you. We also get we all know the story. Uncle Ben dies. I save the city a bunch. MJ and I get married. I save the city a bunch more. MJ and I stop talking and our relationship falls on the rocks. We end up separating. I'm doing crunches. I'm keeping myself in shape. I'm keeping ready for the next fight while on screen he's just devouring pizzas.
He's in the shower crying, and there's a slice of pizza sitting on the
He's like,
shower.
I handled our separation well. And he's just crying in the shower in full Spider-Man suit. He's not even naked in the shower crying in the fetal position. He's in full suit.
I loved it. It was so good.
He's such a sad sack. It's amazing.
Oh gosh.
But ultimately, he and Miles, they got to break in and steal the goober. The
goober.
goober
I
key.
loved it. I just called it goober.
Yeah, it's like, well, there's always a key or a switch or a machine. I just call them goobers because I can't remember what they're called. I also like how they didn't use MacGuffin. That's too much of an industry term at this point. No, he called it a goober, and I love that. Usually, I'm not going to lie, up until this movie, I only have ever referred to goobers as people. Like, I've never referred to a thing as a goober. I only refer to goober people.
Yeah, and I'm going to start referring to things as goobers from now on.
Instead of MacGuffin?
Yeah, instead of MacGuffin.
It's a goober.
Or something that's unobtainium.
Hate that joke. And I hate that it's back. And I want everyone to just take a moment to boo this man. Boo this man right now. Boo.
I had to do an Avatar callback. You did one earlier.
It wasn't a callback. Well, I guess it kind of was. Okay. So, do you think Miles and Gwen ever pulled an On Golden Pond and sucked face? Blah, 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 blah. I'm in this studio just as much as you. I can make all the callbacks. I can do them all. I remember everything.
Damn it, that backfired on me.
Blah, 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 blah. Gwen, I'm going through puberty. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I like them apples.
Ugh. So they broke into Alchemax, eh?
Oh yeah, that's a thing. And okay. If anyone actually needs a visual representation of when I say I hate Tevis's notebook, look at Liv Octavius's desktop, and that is Tevis's notebook. That is the most accurate visual representation I've ever seen of your notes, is this bitch's desktop.
It's not that bad.
I don't know, I'm kind of looking at it over the desk here. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. So the whole scene of them, Peter B. and Miles trying to get her computer.
Yeah.
And then the fight scene that takes place just inside that office was so fast-paced and so frantic. But you were able to still follow every single thing that happened. He grabs the medicine ball or whatever it is.
Yeah, the medicine ball chair.
And she tries to hit him with her tentacle, and he picks it up and it bounces, and and it's just all that. And it's so frantic and so fast, but yet I was never ever once confused.
This movie's so organized. The pre-production and the what do you call it? An animation when you're doing
Storyboards?
Your storyboarding is so on point.
Oh, I would love to just see their storyboards for this. Because they sat down and was meticulous about every single frame of this movie. And so, it shows.
So the doctor unveils her suit. She's got her tentacle arms. She's got her glasses. And Peter B. hits her with, let me guess, your friends call you Doc Ock, don't they? And she goes, well, actually, my friends call me Liv. My enemies call me Doc Ock.
My enemies call me Doc Ock.
Which, again, does go into my favorite line when they meet up with her later when they attack Aunt May's house. And she breaks in, and they're like, who is that? And Peter B. just goes, oh, no, it's Liv. That is the best just dead one-liner in this whole movie. That is the best one.
He is so good at that stuff.
Jake Johnson's the best.
He is super good.
He's
super underrated, too, because I don't see him in a whole lot of stuff.
That's by choice.
Is it?
Yeah, I read an article an interview he gave.
Really?
Where he's like, he just doesn't want that superstardom.
Gotcha.
He's just like, no, he's very choosy about the projects he does, and so, but no, he's fine. He enjoys his quieter, more laid back style. So yeah, it's not that I do believe he's underrated. He didn't want to be the new Chris Pratt.
Oh, okay. I
right?
can see that.
He made that choice, and I respect that.
Yeah, because the only thing I can, off the top of my head, I can think of he was in is the TV show New Girl, which I never actually watched.
So good. So good.
Um,
He's so good in that.
And then he was in Jurassic World. He was one of
Yeah.
the technicians, and he was arguably one of the highlights of that movie.
Oh yeah. 100%. He was Tom Cruise's sidekick in The Mummy. That was supposed to kick off the Dark
Was he really?
Universe. Yeah.
I've seen that, but I did see it on a plane.
Yeah, so you know his army buddy that gets killed and he
Yeah.
brings him back at the end? That's Jake.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm not gonna rewatch it to
No, I wouldn't wish that evil on you.
make sure you're correct, but I trust you.
That's him.
Yeah, okay.
So good. He's so good. He's like, I'm fit and I'm blonde. This is not my home. This is not my New York. So, they're stealing the computer.
Yes.
I want to jump back to this real quick. Cuz the whole time Peter B's plan largely involves two things: stealing the goober and stealing a bagel. And that's very important. So the fight's going on. Miles has got the computer. They're running down the hall, and Peter B's like, hey, well, I have good news for you. What's that? He goes, we don't need the monitor. And he takes the computer monitor from Miles and just hucks it down the hall because they only need the tower.
I loved it. It was so funny.
But then at the end, they're like, okay, we're in a cafeteria. Let's just play it cool. And they're both in Spider-Man get up, in the middle of a crowded cafeteria. So they're like, we're going to be cool. Hey, a bagel. And he gets his bagel, And then all the scientists see them pull out guns and it's on, right? They run out and they leave. And Miles turns around and hucks the bagel at the one guy, hits him in the head. And then the comic panel pops up of just bagel above his head instead of like pow or boom or biff. It's bagel.
That was great. That was so great.
And also a startling amount of his plan involved getting a bagel from the
a lot of bagel
cafeteria.
talk.
There was a lot of bagel talk. That's our next podcast. Our sideshow is Bagel Talk, and we'll just talk about breakfast.
So yeah, this is when we get to meet Gwen as Spider-Woman.
Yes.
And her intro music is fantastic.
They all are.
That rock. I don't know what I was going to say, but it wasn't intelligible.
I noticed because you went, well,
yeah.
That rock. That
rock music. It was so good.
What the kids would call rock and or roll.
The rock and roll that your parents said not to listen to.
Rot your brains. They're like, hey, we need help. We're doing scene by scene again. Gonna try to get us away. Although you have way more notes than I do.
Mine are mostly trying to keep me in order as far as like Gwen. It's like, yeah, she was blown into last week, literally.
Yeah.
But
the last week of another dimension, so the last week is irrelevant.
Yeah.
God.
But like when Doc Ock and Kingpin are talking on the balcony,
mm-hmm.
and then it transitions to them on the bus, the Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man and
mm-hmm.
Miles on the bus, it turns like a page of a comic book.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot to bring this up about Kingpin. Do you know who voiced Kingpin?
Not off the top of my head.
Liev Schreiber.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, that does not sound like him at all.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, this movie is stacked.
And that's another underrated guy, in my opinion. It goes back to when he was cast as Sabretooth.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, no, he's not going to be a very good Sabretooth. And he was the best part of that movie, which wasn't hard because the movie was trash, but...
Right. You know what? We've now talked about Sabretooth twice, and each one with a different actor.
That is true.
Because the other one was Rob Zombie, Halloween, Michael Myers.
Tyler Mane.
Yeah.
So, is Sabretooth the winner of the Meredith Burton Award?
No, because that's a character, not a person.
Oh. Okay. Anyway.
He may be our most referenced character, who has nothing to do with anything we've talked about.
That's true. That's true. So where are we at now? Aunt May's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
They meet the other spider people. They all give their exact same backstory in a quick but upbeat and comical faction. The Spider-Man faction. And then, the Kingpin and his cohorts figure out where they are, and it's on. I'm not going to lie. I really felt like a group of seasoned spider people would have handled this better.
Really?
Yes. 'Cause I'm pretty sure they outnumbered the enemies.
Well, yeah, but you got Spider Ham
Arguably, he should be the strongest.
because he's a cartoon.
He follows the logic of cartoon.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Okay, pick someone you fist fight. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Voorhees, Bugs Bunny. The Bunny is my last pick because he's going to F me up. And I have no chance because he doesn't follow any rules.
That's true. You can hit him with an anvil and he just keep coming.
You know, he's going to hit me with the anvil he pulled out of his non existent fur pocket. I really regret saying fur pocket. I just want to take a minute. I would like to take a second and apologize to everyone for that. But once Tevis recovers, he's not going to survive this episode, folks.
Oh my god.
But no, point being, Spider-Ham should be the most deadly of them all. Noir Spider-Man actively fistfights Nazis. You tell me he can't handle Scorpion? Scorpion is about as D-list as it gets.
My heart hurts. Oh my
Too many
God.
White Castle sliders.
Fur pocket.
I said I was sorry. I regretted it instantly. But you know, he reaches into like his leg like he has a pocket, but he's not wearing pants, but he has a pocket for some reason.
Yeah, because I guess Spider-Ham does hand Miles a hammer.
The mallet. And he's like,
Yeah.
it'll fit into
It'll
whatever
fit
fit
in
in your
your
pocket. He drops an anvil on one of the enemies, and I don't remember if that was this
Scorpion.
fight scene or the big fight scene at the end.
Yeah, I think it was at the end.
I think it was at the end, but yeah, he saves Penny Parker, who I've never heard of other than this movie, by dropping an anvil on Scorpion.
That's true. That is true. Holy God.
I really like Peter B's lesson of like, there comes a point in time where all the training, all the practice, all the preparation, that's good, but there comes a point where it's just a leap of faith. Prepare all you want, you have to take that plunge eventually. And no matter how much you've prepared, you're never ready for it.
Yeah, I have leap of faith in my notes.
I've seen how many notes you've taken on this movie. I imagine it's in there somewhere. There's only so many English words that you can combine to form sentences. I'm sure leap of faith just scrambled its way out there eventually.
I hate you. Oh. So before we pass over this part, Uncle Aaron dying.
Because he's going to kill new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Miles takes his mask off to reveal it's him. And he's like, Uncle Aaron.
And he's being grasped by the throat,
Mm-hmm.
and he could hardly talk. And he just, Uncle Aaron, Uncle Aaron.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
But then Uncle Aaron takes his mask off, and he's like, I can't. He's, it's not even like he's torn between his duty and his family. Like, you know how some movies might play. Like, there was no doubt in my mind for a second that he was not going to kill Miles. That never even crossed his mind. I think he kind of maintains his grip for a second more out of the shock that it's his nephew he's been fighting. I don't believe there was any thought or any debate in his head of to finish him off or not.
I did for a second, because he takes Miles's mask and he pulls it back down, and I thought, oh, he might actually do it. But then he immediately lets go. And
See, I guess I read the scene differently, because right before he pulls the mask down, Kingpin is like, what are you doing? Finish him. And now Aaron knows he has an audience, and he doesn't want Kingpin or Doc Ock or whoever to see his nephew's face. That's how I took it.
Okay, I didn't take it that way.
Even in that, I took it as an act of protecting his nephew.
God dang, that makes me love it even more.
Right? Yeah, Uncle Aaron was never in a million. We talked about, I think we had joked before about how in Quantum Mania, every possible version of Scott Lang is like, oh shit, we have to help Cassie.
Yeah.
And they all work together to help get their goal to help Cassie, right? In all dimensions of Uncle Aaron, none of them hurt Miles.
Okay. Yeah, that I didn't take it that way, but the way when you explain it now, oh yeah, that makes me love it even more.
See, I feel like I explain these movies more to you than our audience.
Well, yeah, because half the time I don't pay attention to any of it.
You never even watched Grumpy Old Man.
We, we were not even supposed to watch that movie. I watched the trailer for it. So Uncle Aaron gets shot
Yep.
by Kingpin, and then Miles takes him and swings away, and they're in the alleyway. Uncle Aaron is dying, and he says to Miles, and I wrote this down because this every time I hear it, just kills me.
Okay.
He says, "I let you down, man. I let you down." And the way he says it, it's really, I don't know, it just hits me really hard. And then he croaks.
Why? Because I think either in this moment or even throughout when they were meeting before, he talks about how, his Miles's dad, his brother, is a good guy. He's super straight laced and everything, but he's a good guy and just wants the best for Miles, as does Aaron in his own way. He's doing it his own way, but their goals are aligned. He just wants the best for his nephew, but he also wants to be that supportive role model. And in that moment, he could hide the Prowler from Miles, and that just be that dirty secret Miles never has to know about, and Uncle Aaron can then live his life the way he does, but also still present the image of himself that he wants Miles to see. Well, that curtain is torn down,
Yeah, when
and
he's in the
now,
apartment,
yeah,
and
that
then he knows that the Prowler is his uncle, and then the music hits, and he's
yeah.
just sitting there invisible, and you still see his eyes are super big, and it's like he's torn,
hmm
he's hurting.
And Uncle Aaron, now dying, knows like that dirty secret's out. My nephew knows that I am legitimately a bad guy. Like as far as I guess his career path, he's a career criminal. He's a
Right,
career
right.
supervillain. And now he knows. He's like, yeah. The one thing I think that he would have kept hidden from Miles forever because he knows that there's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to spin it into a good thing. And still be that hero, that inspirational figure that Miles can look up to and be the Prowler.
I've seen all the Spider-Man movies,
I'm sorry.
so I've seen Uncle Ben die like 12 times. Um,
Is it as funny as when the Waynes die?
None of them have ever been as impactful as Miles losing Uncle Aaron.
Yeah. But we never actually get to really meet or grow attached to Uncle Ben.
I think we spend just as much time with Uncle Ben as we do Uncle Aaron. We don't really spend a whole lot of time with him.
Yeah, I don't know. Once you get into the apartment scene and the hay, and then there's the tagging sequence, which goes on for a while.
It might be.
Yeah,
Might be
and now the death sequence. I think we get a fair amount of time with Aaron. Maybe not though. I don't know.
not enough. I need more Aaron.
Well, he dies
I know.
from a gunshot. Just one gunshot.
Yeah.
What suit are you wearing? You don't have bullet protection? What kind of bad planning is this?
Got him right between the seams.
Well, Kingpin with that giant head and his big stupid eyes, he was a crack shot.
The only other quote I wrote down was Spider Pig when he said the hardest part about this job is you can't always save everybody.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
Well, I didn't write it down, but once Uncle Aaron dies, Miles is like, "You guys don't understand," and Gwen and Pig and Peter B and everyone's like, "Miles, we're probably the only people who understand." And Noir kicks in with, "What a hardcore origin story." And they're like, "Dude, shut up."
I just love that. I love that.
What a hardcore origin. Really, other than, obviously we're not trying to go scene by scene. I don't have any other notes on this. I think we've covered all the highlights that I wanted to cover.
The only other one I want to hit on is when Miles finally takes that leap of faith
Mm-hmm.
and he's attached to the side of the building and he's in his new suit, the spray painted black, but his hands and the bottoms of his feet are still a little bit red.
Well, he's still wearing his Jordans.
But he looks super cool, and then he jumps off the building and the glass breaks because he's tears it off as he jumps, and then the music comes on. What's up, danger?
Mm-hmm.
Never heard that song before in my entire life. I don't know what it is. I don't know who sings it, but then he's falling and the image is inverted. It looks like the skyscrapers and stuff are up top and he's falling upwards.
It's like he's ascending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's the visually that kills me every time. I'm like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Just whoever thought of, let's do it this way. Like, you're a genius.
Falling upwards, folks.
Kind of like what I did going up the stairs.
Ascending. Read a book, man. Okay, so just gonna move on. Moving on.
Hey, I'm an art major.
So
I have a degree in crayons, okay? Leave me alone.
no, you have a degree written in crayon. Or as we pronounced it growing up in St. Louis, crayons.
What?
Yeah, we pronounced it crayons.
Crayons?
Crayons. C-R-A-N-S. Crayons.
Like
crayons.
Like crayon.
No,
berries?
just C-R-A-N. Yeah, I guess crayons.
Okay.
Shout out to my homies who say crayons. It is crayon, so we're wrong.
Yeah.
So closing thoughts on this movie. Not crayons.
Oh, my turn?
Yes!
Oh.
I was passing you the ball, Butterfingers. The 90s Chicago Bulls, we are not.
Now, this movie is underrated, I will say. This is probably the best Spider-Man up to this point. Everything about this movie is spot on, from the acting to the visuals, the music. There is not a single flaw in this movie.
Other than the hair trim, the haircut.
And
the handprint.
Apparently Kingpin, too.
And 100%. That huge swing and a miss.
I dare say this is a perfect movie.
It's about as close as, 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's our highest rated movie thus far.
That is too low.
Well, IMDb gave it a 8.4.
I am now deleting the IMDb app I have on my phone. This movie, every time I watch it, I still get the feels in every spot that I've got it watching it the first time.
Every spot?
Every spot, even in my fur pocket.
And I snorted it into them. Fantastic. What are the odds you can edit that out? No. What are the odds you will edit that?
I'm going to edit that into a song.
Is the title going to be Fur Pocket?
No, actually, I'm going to edit it every time Spider Pig is brought up. Just gonna
that would be arguably hilarious. Like, objectively, that's hilarious. But it's also really mean. Why are you so mean to me?
No, and I honestly did go into this movie trying to be objective, trying to find some things about it that were a little wrong or a little off or that didn't quite work. Like I said, I watched this 3 times this week, and no, there's nothing wrong with this movie at all. This is as close to a perfect movie, I think, as you can get.
My turn?
Yeah, Butterfingers.
Well, you didn't even segue. You just put it.
Sorry. Let's try that again. Your turn.
Oh, thank you. Catch. Boom. Pass.
Bounce.
Receive.
Bounce.
Man, we're bad at our jobs. So I guess my closing thoughts is I agree. This movie is as close to perfect as you can get. I typically am very harsh on the movies we watch. Watching movies under the rule set that we've set for ourselves for this show makes me hate movies. And a lot of times throughout the week I question, do I even like movies? Because most of the time I don't. No, this is fantastic. To give a rating system, I have always been partial of 5 stars. 1 to 5. No decimals. 10 is too much. When you do 10s with decimals, what are you even doing with your life? 1 being this is the absolute worst thing that's ever been made. 3 is average. It's fine. It's good. It's enjoyable. 4 is it is exceptional. And then 5 being near perfect. It's not perfect. It's a perfect score, but it's not. I'm not saying that this is a perfect film, video game, whatever, because that's impossible.
Right.
Right. But if 3 is your good average, 4 is exceptional. 5 is you must, absolutely must watch this movie. You have to. If you have not seen this movie, you've done yourself a disservice up to this point. You need to watch this ticket price 5-star movie. And I actually enjoy movies, apparently. But they have to be insanely good, is what I'm learning, which bums me out, too. Anything else, sir?
No. This movie is definitely worth the ticket price.
All right, then. I think we're done here for the day. I'm Jake. That's Tevis.
I'm gonna go have me
A slider?
I couldn't even get it out.
Well, eat enough of them, you're not going to get them out either. Thank you for just throwing the hand up, saying just keep going. You're done. All right, folks. Actually, so we have a bit of a special coming up for our Patreon subscribers. We have a special episode coming out on Patreon just for you guys. Stay tuned. And for our next movie, we've got it pulled from the hat. We are looking at the Western film. I
Why
can't.
did you say it like that?
Oh, like Western classic, and I went no, Western. It's a film, and it's a Western.
It's a Western set of images put together in sequence.
They fall upwards. Dumbass. No, next week we're looking at Young Guns.
Hey.
Episode 11, we're looking at Young Guns. Be sure to tune in. We look forward to entertaining you with our rapier-like wit. And Patreon fans, special episode coming up just for you. Have a good night.